unconditional surrender. I will not accept anything less than that. Remember what Donald Trump said in the beginning of this war? To now saying that, yes, I will give you $300 billion. Don't worry about this. We'll take care of that. To also, you can have your missiles. You can also have your nuclear program as long as you use it for energy. Oh my God. Exactly what Obama agreed with Iran in 2015 with the JCPOA. But Donald Trump has to have his signature on all of this. But this time it is so much more chaotic that it is actually sending shockwaves, not just to Donald Trump and his circle, but also the MAGA base, GOP. They're all melting down. And the thing is, they're not even hiding it. They are not even hiding it. It is such a disaster. I will actually in this video explain all of these things in details. But before I do that, if you're not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. I want to start off with this particular reporting first. Take a listen.
Fire and what it tells us about what may come with these talks on the Iran deal.
Yeah, Antonio, I mean, the hope is that it holds and that it will allow for these technical talks to begin. I'm here in Zurich, just about an hour from where those technical talks were set to be held. We were expecting the Vice President, J.D. Vance, Steve Woodcock, Jared Kushner to travel over to Switzerland to meet with Iranian negotiators alongside mediators. And at the last minute,
obviously, J.D. Vance did not travel to Switzerland thanks to genocidal maniac state of Israel who bombed Lebanon, killed innocent civilians there, and now everything is off the table.
Those talks were called off. The White House didn't really get into why, but we did speak to an Iranian senior official who told MS Now that that it's difficult to see how talks can get underway around the MOU while Israeli hostilities continue in Lebanon. The death toll overnight in Lebanon is unacceptable, and that's because we saw Israel overnight launching fresh strikes on Lebanon. At least 21 civilians in Lebanon killed, and we know that 4 IDF soldiers were also killed. The Israelis had, over the last few days, pretty much been rejecting this deal, suggesting that they don't feel bound by it. We'd heard from the Israeli prime minister that essentially they were refusing to withdraw their troops from Lebanon. We heard that again this morning from the Israeli defense.
They have agreed to a ceasefire, the Zionist regime in Tel Aviv, but that doesn't mean they have agreed to withdraw from Lebanon. According to the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, you have to withdraw from those quote-unquote security line. That doesn't mean Israel agreed to it, and by all means, after looking at their presence, continuous presence in southern Lebanon, it is quite evident to us that they have agreed to the ceasefire, whatever it means for them, because they never respect or abide by any ceasefire. But they have said, okay, whatever, ceasefire, whatever. But they are not going to withdraw from Lebanon. In other words, Iran will not negotiate with Donald Trump, and Trump will not get what he is wanting from this particular deal with Iran.
Minister, so all eyes on Israel to see if they stop their hostilities in Lebanon, if President Trump is able to rein them in. We do know now there is this ceasefire that we're told began at 4 p.m. local time. We understand it was negotiated by U.S. negotiators along with the Qataris, but the big question, is whether this will hold.
Yeah, I mean, next time when you open the newspaper, you will see Qatar came under attack by the Zionist entity. Why? Well, because Qatar, you are involved in this negotiation, we're going to bomb you. That's why they did the bombing last time on Qatar, because they were part of the solution to this Middle Eastern problem, this cancer called Israel. And so what they do, they bomb Qatar too. Who knows, this time they will do it again. And then blame it on Saudi Arabia or maybe on other countries, maybe Kuwait or Bahrain, because that's what they do. They not only attack, they also carry out false flags in order to dismantle the whole peace process. Israel, in other words, is willing to go to any extent, and that's what is being reported on the media. Take a look at this one.
Days of peace conversations when initially Vance is now not even going there. The White House put out a statement essentially saying that a lot of this is complex logistics and it's going to take some time to figure out. We did hear from the president earlier today on Truth Social where he said that Iran will not be getting a single cent of money from the United States. But it's worth noting the complexity here where very much so Iran does seem to be getting obviously hundreds of billions of dollars from this memorandum of understanding that we have right now. Already, right now, as we speak, there are relief on sanctions to Iran that translates to a ton of cash flow that they didn't previously have before, as well as this investment fund of up to the tune of $300 billion that they may receive. Now, the White House continues to say on that front, that's going to come from Gulf states, not the U.S., but regardless, it will be hundreds of billions of dollars of investment into Iran. So we are seeing from...
This is where the meltdown is coming mostly from the neocons, Nazis, and the warmongers. That we can get into a MOU with Iran, but why pay them $300 billion? You don't want Iran to have nuclear program? Maybe that will even that will be okay with Israel, with the neocons. Because at the end of the day, all they want to do is to implement greater Israeli project. Iran having nuclear weapon, and they know they will not have one. And there is a fatwa in Iran. So Israel trusts them. They believe them. They believe Iran. They will not pursue a nuclear bomb. But $300 billion, you're giving it to them. They will become so strong economically, financially, that they will not care about future sanction. They will not care about anything. And on top of this $300 billion, they have unfrozen $24 billion. That's what they will do. I believe 12 was already unfrozen, $12 billion. And now they will also collect tolls. Money matters. And the Zionists, the neocons, they know it. As long as a country is rich, they can do whatever they want. Because economy makes a country a superpower. Not just the military of it, but the economy of itself. And how many countries they rely on Iran? How many countries they rely on Iran, on Strait of Hormuz? Almost all of the countries in the world. So who is holding the ultimate card here? It's Iran. And the neocons, the Nazis, they know it, that we are making Iran much more stronger economically, and that is the end of them. That's for sure. Take a listen at this particular reporting from MS Now.
Accept unconditional surrender. Little did we know he meant it was ours.
That was Jimmy Kimmel's take on Trump's Iran deal. And all of this is unfolding as the next stage of the process has already hit a snag. Apparently, Iran has delayed the nuclear talks that were supposed to start today. J.D. Vance canceled a trip to Switzerland for those talks at the last minute. Discussions concerning Iran's nuclear capabilities were literally the first thing that was supposed to happen after the initial memorandum of understanding between the United States and Iran was signed. But apparently, that has now gone kaput. Meanwhile, criticism of the MOU is heating up. The Wall Street Journal says that Trump reached the deal, quote, from a position of weakness, not strength, in essence, paying a ransom. Tucker Carlson is also piling on. Take a listen.
It is absolutely impossible to say this is in any sense a win for the United States, because it's not. This is a pretty humiliating loss for the United States.
And it seems that the American taxpayers aren't done paying the price for this loss. The Pentagon is asking for another $80 billion to help cover the cost of the war.
Okay, so this $80 billion is a big deal. Now, this $80 billion is just the tip of the iceberg they have requested from the lawmakers, U.S. lawmakers. They have wasted billions, if not trillions of dollars on this war and protecting Israel. Now they have no money. This guy, Pete Hegseth, who lies through his teeth, he lied again and again and again about Iran war. Now he doesn't have money. $80 billion is going to be covering the basic cost for the U.S. military. It is not even those equipments that got destroyed by Iranian missiles in the Gulf nations. They will need trillions of dollars to make all of this thing or put them in the right place. They will need trillions of dollars to fix all of this problem. They cannot without those money. For $80 billion is really nothing. It's just the tip of the iceberg. And this guy, after lying so many days, so for so many weeks and months, now all of a sudden you see him don't agree with Donald Trump's MOU with Iran. He doesn't agree with him. And now there is a report that he might be getting fired. He should be, because this guy is a moron, a complete stupid, dumb effing S, who was hired by another dumb effing S president. Take a listen.
It's increasingly apparent that this deal was not good for the United States. But one person seems to be in denial.
And it certainly brought Iran to the table more than before. However, beginning a conflict, you had talked about you only wanted unconditional surrender. And the MOU doesn't look like unconditional surrender.
Well, it really probably is unconditional surrender.
Joining me now to break...
It's not even a surrender. It's not even a surrender. Please don't use that word, because it sticks with you, not with Iran. It's very pesky word now. Surrender. Everyone these days will be thinking about Donald Trump. Surrender. Not Iran. Not Iran. So he's trying to peddle his narrative in the opposite direction, but it is already too late. Now I want you to actually listen to this one too, coming from MS Now again.
With so much on the line for America's credibility on the world stage, let's bring in MS Now reporter Michael Schnell, David Rode, MS Now senior national security reporter, and MS Now political contributor Dr. Jason Johnson. He's a professor of politics and journalism at Morgan State University. All right, Michael Schnell, Trump says there are no limits on his power. I guess he has never watched Schoolhouse Rock. Given that Congress could, in fact, serve as a check on that power, what are you watching for on Capitol Hill right now?
Yeah, well, Alicia, sort of two dynamics. First off, the fact that as Senate Republicans learn more about this memorandum of understanding, they're hating it even more. So as now we enter into the 60-day period where the United States is actually going to be negotiating a long-term deal with Iran, curious, as more details come out, what are these Senate Republicans going to say? And on the other side of the Capitol, the House side, the House hasn't been in session since this MOU was announced. They return back to the Capitol next week on Tuesday. So very curious to hear what folks have to say about this initial agreement. It's easy to just tweet when you want when Congress is out of session, but when you're being pressed by reporters in the halls of the Capitol, that's when we can get some more information and some unvarnished views about this memorandum of understanding. And then the second dynamic I'll be watching out for is Senate Republicans, in a way, have kind of backed themselves into a corner here, because as we were just learning more information about this MOU before Congress had actually gotten its hands on this document, a number of Senate Republicans said that they want the president to send the final deal to Congress and let Congress put its stamp of approval. They compared it to the JCPOA, given that Obama did not give it to Congress to give its stamp of approval. It was one of the reasons why President Trump was able to unilaterally draw that down. They want to have a vote. But now we're at a point where lawmakers actually have this information and they're not happy about it. So if we get a final deal, and by the way, I've spoken to a number of Republicans on Capitol Hill, nobody is certain that we will get to a final deal here because it is such an unpredictable nature of negotiations. But if we do, and these Republicans don't like it, they have two options. Are they going to continue that call for a vote and then actually potentially vote against it, which could be a massive blow to President Trump? Or do they make a 180 and say we actually don't need to vote on it? It could potentially be one of the biggest showdowns we have seen between Republicans on Capitol Hill and President Trump. And this is
so basically, when we talk about Republican voting on it, the lawmakers are trying to take Trump's power away from finalizing this MOU. We are basically talking about neo-Nazis or neocons in Washington who would not want this memorandum of understanding to go through without giving a lot of concession to Israel. I think there are two possibilities. Number one, they will get a vote and stop Trump from MOU, final deal. And number two, they might tell Trump, we will not vote, you can have it, but we need this for this, the list goes on and on for Israel. Are you going to give Israel trillions of dollars? We will have no problem. Are we going to be merging U.S. military into IDF? Then we have no problem. So conditions are coming for Donald Trump in order to have this finalized. Take a listen at this one from CNN. And MAGA right now is panicking.
You see Donald Trump running around saying that people are stupid per se, but I think the only stupid one is him. Let's look at the terms of the deal. $400 billion to the Iran. I mean, well, look,
it's not a deal. It's an MOU.
Let's make sure we're okay with semantics.
It's not semantics.
Well, let's do it. $400 billion to the Iranian regime. $100 billion in sanction relief. $300 billion in a reconstruction fund. That's a lot of money flowing to the regime. That doesn't sound like unconditional surrender.
Well, let's pick that apart. The $300 billion that we're talking about for reconstruction does not go to the regime. It goes to corporations. It's an investment, and it's to rebuild the infrastructure that the world relies upon for the oil supply chain. And it's going to be paid for primarily by the Gulf states.
Who's going to get the revenue?
It doesn't matter who is paying for it. It doesn't matter who is taking the money, because it's going to Iran anyways. It's going to reconstruct Iran. As Trump loves to say, make America great again. He just made Iran great again. It doesn't matter those $300 billion, where it is coming from. Gulf countries doesn't matter. Trump giving from his own pocket doesn't matter. Iran is becoming rich and strong. And they were not in this position, this level of strength, ever before the war.
From the oil sales.
No, I understand that.
So if you're going to commit to rebuilding Iranian infrastructure, who gets the revenue from that? You just lifted sanctions on Iranian oil.
There will be, as part of the program in the plan, there will be IMF oversight over those funds. They will not be allowed to run Iranians. They will not be allowed.
Yeah, IMF oversight doesn't count. Iran, once they have the money, they will be like, bye-bye, IMF, bye-bye. They never cared about, atomic agency, their inspection of Iranian nuclear program. They don't care. They used to in 2015 when they agreed to the JCPOA. These days they don't care. They don't even want to be part of NPT, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Take a listen at this one.
Iran on notice as he tries to salvage his deal to end the war, now 112 days in.
It's 60 days. They have to make a deal. Otherwise, we will do things that won't make them happy. But I don't think it's going to get to that.
Those discussions, though, have not yet started. In fact, they were supposed to be taking place right now, but Iran backed out after one of the deadliest days since the start of the war.
Yeah, well, when Trump says we will go back to bombing them, Iran is saying do it now. Do it now, because if Israel doesn't behave, we are going to bomb them. What are you going to do? 60 days? You don't have to wait. Come get us. Come bomb us. That's pretty much is the message Iran is sending. It's a complete disaster for Trump administration, but we hope this war will end. That's the main or the bottom line of this whole conversation. We want bloodshed to stop. Subscribe for more videos. I have some comments here. Hi, Eva. I think your name, Eva. Hi, Eva. Thank you so much for seeing you after so long. Have a wonderful day.